And welcome back to EDH Deck Building. I am your host, Demo, and I'm wondering if they're ever going to ban anything in the Commander format ever again. It has been a long while since we've had a card banned in the Commander format, a long while, and I'm just going off my memory here, but I believe the last card that was ever banned in the format was Golos. Of course, it's been about 3 years since that happened, and I'm wondering, are we at a point where they're just never going to ban anything again? The reason I'm talking about this, again, is because of Modern Horizons 3, one of the most impactful sets we've ever seen for the Commander format. It's making waves as to be expected, of course, because of all the powerful cards there. And one of the biggest cards making waves is Nadu Winged Wisdom. If by some chance you haven't seen it before, maybe not necessarily in a game, but of course being talked about on social media like it is an absolute ton. 1 green and a blue bird wizard, 3/4 with flying. Creatures you control have, whenever this creature becomes the target of spell or ability, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it in your hand. This ability triggers only twice each turn. And of course, as I correctly predicted, this card was, I guess a lot of people correctly predicted. I'm not exactly Nostradamus here by predicting that this card would be powerful and really popular in the Commander format. Even a novice Commander player could probably take one look at this card and figure out that it's really, really powerful. And what kind of annoys me about this card more than anything is it is pretty unique, pretty interesting, but there's so many different ways they could have made this card less powerful. I say the same thing about Orcish Bowmasters. It's like, why did they even word the card that way? There's so many ways they could have made Orcish Bowmasters less powerful, lots of different ways. And of course, they even did that on Arena by nerfing Orcish Bowmasters, because it says whenever an opponent draws a card except the first one, they draw each of their draw steps. So they got rid of the part where it has an ETB on it, right? And they could have made it less powerful by not having the Amass Orcs, or not having the damage, or not having flash, or having it cost 3 instead of 2, right? There's so many ways they could have made that card not so ridiculous. And of course, it still would have been a very good card and people still would have been playing it. Nadu, same thing, right? They could have made it so that, of course, the easy one here is it only triggers once each turn. Like that wasn't good enough. They also could have made it so that this isn't creatures you control have. This could have just been an ability on your commander, which is what a lot of people assumed when they first saw it. Your Nadu could have just said, whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell or ability, reveal the top card of your library, yada, yada, yada. This ability triggers only twice each turn, which still would have been really good. It still would have been really, really good to get this trigger off your commander only twice each turn. It could have been just spells instead of spell or ability. So of course, you can't do that 0 mana equip thing. That is one of the easiest ways to get the trigger off your commander. Having to cast spells and target your stuff does make it a little bit more difficult. And they also could have done, put a land card into play tapped instead of having it untapped so that you could just continue the silliness, right? There's so many easy ways they could have made this commander not so ridiculous. And as to be expected, it's already making waves in the Commander format, also making waves in Modern, which of course it was intended to be played in Modern, but the fact that this card is making waves in Modern, I think says a lot as well. But of course, I'm going to focus on the Commander format here, and a lot of people, before this card even was playable in the format, people were calling for it to get banned. And will it get banned? Maybe it won't. Maybe it's too good. I don't think it will. I don't think it ever will. And it's possible we don't ever see a card get banned in the Commander format ever again. And the reason why, well, there's a couple of reasons why, I think. Reason number one is look at the place we are already at, right? Look at where we're already at with the cards they don't ban in the Commander format. People are constantly crying for certain cards to get banned, and they don't ban them, right? I talked about this in my Saltiest Cards video last week. Thassa's Oracle and Dockside Extortionist, 2 perfect examples of cards that a lot of people hate to see in a casual Commander game. A lot of people don't ever want to see them in a casual Commander game, and a lot of people want to see either of those cards or both get banned. And of course, those cards have existed in the format for quite a long time now, and they've never been banned, and they're not gonna gonna get banned, guys. Any of you people out there thinking Dockside Extortionist might get banned, it's not gonna happen, okay? It is not going to happen. Now, a point that I made in that video is, well, Thassa's Oracle to me kind of doesn't even feel like a casual card. I would say Dockside Extortionist more so actually does. I'm totally okay with the Dockside Extortionist in a casual commander game. Thassa's Oracle less so. It really does feel like a purely CEDH card. It's the number one win con in CEDH, and as I say all the time, if you're using the number one win con in CEDH as your win con in your casual commander deck, you know, that just doesn't add up for me, right? It seems like maybe you shouldn't be doing that. And of course, this brings me into the more poignant part of the discussion, which is we already got CEDH, right? And as I've been talking about since the beginning of my channel, we should just separate the formats into CEDH and casual. And I had so many people pushing back, oh, that should never happen. Of course, the only difference that you would have between CEDH and a casual format if you separated them is the ban list. Everything else would be exactly the same. The only difference would be you'd just likely have a way larger band list in casual commander, which I gotta be honest, I don't love. However, that bridge, that gap is already created by commander players themselves. And it's so funny when you talk to people about CEDH and casual commander, and they're like, that's ridiculous to separate the formats. And my response is, why is it even a thing? Why is CEDH even a thing already? Why do we even call it that? Why don't we just have one name for everything? Why does it even have a separate name if it's not a separate thing? It's already a separate thing. Now, of course, it's not officially a separate format, but guess what? Commander isn't officially a format already. The decisions for the format are made by some group of guys that started the format so long ago. It's not even controlled by Wizards of the Coast, for those who aren't aware. Now, of course, Wizards of the Coast and the rules committee, who actually makes the decisions, interact quite a bit. At least they do now. Of course, they never used to. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of discussion about cards, but I have heard through the grapevine a few times that certain cards that Wizards of the Coast was planning on coming out with, the rules committee's guys got a sneak peek and they're like, please don't print this card. It's going to ruin the commander format. And they went ahead and did it anyway. So even though there is some communication there, I don't think they care that much what the rules committee thinks. But back to the topic of banning, and I could be putting my foot in my mouth here if we find out that Nadu is banned next week. I don't think it's going to happen. I think this commander is just going to get relegated to being played in CEDH. It's just going to be a CEDH commander. So the only way it's going to get banned, I think, is if the CEDH players think it's too much. Is it that powerful? Is it powerful enough that the CEDH players want it banned? I don't know, maybe, but I doubt it. That's where we've gotten to in the commander format. There's, of course, a ton of busted cards in the commander format already, and typically those cards either get shunned by certain pods or just ignored like they don't even exist. Like a lot of the cards I talked about in that Saltiest video where people don't even consider it for a casual commander game, so it's not even worth talking about. Why need to ban it if no one's actually going to play it in a casual commander game, right? Or that card gets relegated to CEDH. And like I've said about other commanders like Urza and Najila, those to me, right out of the gate, became CEDH only commanders. Both of those commanders to me are commanders that even if you're trying to build a casual deck, they're so powerful, it's really hard to keep it casual. Really hard, in my opinion. Najila, you would have to almost not attack in order to make that commander not incredibly busted, although I will point out that I did come up with a very interesting non-competitive Najila deck idea in one of my 5 builds videos if you're interested. I just think we've gotten to a point now where the dividing line between CEDH and casual commander, although it is very blurry, is firm enough so that when something super busted comes out, people just go, yeah, we're just not going to play that in a casual commander game. Are people going to be playing Nadu Winged Wisdom in casual commander games? Is their pod going to be okay with it? If they just run over everybody 2 or 3 games in a row, are people going to start saying, hey, maybe we should stop playing that in a casual commander game? I don't know. Either way, I don't think it's going to get banned. That's the topic of discussion here, right? I mean, if they don't ban Nadu Winged Wisdom, what are they going to ban? They haven't banned Dockside Extortionist or Thassa's Oracle, 2 cards that are incredibly powerful that people complain about all the time. So why would they ban Nadu? Or why would they ban anything? At what point are you going to have a card that's actually going to need to get banned in the commander format now? What could they possibly print for commander that would make the rules committee just have to ban that card, right? I don't think we are ever going to see a card get banned in the Commander format. Again, the reason why being that these really super busted cards usually just get relegated to CEDH, and then casual Commander players are like, whatever. Go back and look at that saltiest card list. All those cards that casual Commander players don't want to ever see in a Commander game. That's a whole lot of cards that people don't want to see. None of them are banned. They're all available in the Commander format. So I'm thinking it's probably unlikely that Nadu is going to get banned. I think it's unlikely that any card will ever get banned in the Commander format again. That's my personal opinion, though. You guys let me know in the comments below what you think. That is it for today, and thanks for tuning in.